Hey, how's it going? Happy Sunday, everybody. Hope everybody's doing good. Quarantine, bored to death. I just got off the treadmill trying to get the blood flowing a little bit. Was gonna read my Kindle, but it's been so long, the Kindle was dead, so got to charge it up. Um, just wanted to reach out to everybody that was renting. I have a lot of renters in my contact list and my Facebook friends. A lot of people renting houses want to go to the next level. Um, I would just give them the advice to just think about what you're already doing to get that rental. Say, for example, you might have to come up with the first month's and last month's rent already. So you're having to come up with a lot of money already, if not a security deposit, if not a pet deposit, whatever other deposit. So you got to come up with a big stack of cash already, right? And you already got to have job security. Um, the standard, I think, is like 3 months rent in your income. So it's like three times the monthly rent, your monthly income being that. So like if it was $1,000 rental, they're expecting you to make $3,000 a month. And I don't know if I make that. I don't know if I could afford that. And I think about like people that are getting rentals. It's like how would I even afford that? Like say if I got kicked out of my house, like I would take a much worse rental for a much higher price. And I would be like, man, and they would be talking about coming up with all this money. I'd be like, for a rental? Like, are you serious? Like, my house is decent, and it's like it's so much cheaper than I would. Like, I pay like $620 a month. My house was like $93,000, and I had like great house, but it's okay though. I mean, and it's pretty good, and it's way better. Like I think about like what kind of apartment would this be? Like with a garage and a fireplace. You know what I'm saying? Spacious, big ceiling in the front room. Like ceiling fans in every room. Like for an apartment to have those kind of features and to have the kind of space that I have and to be able to play my music at 2 in the morning like I was last night, full blast, just because there's nothing better to do. Like, like what would you pay for that? And I'm just thinking that people are just getting the short end of the stick. Like as far as renting, like it's just a bad deal all the way around. And the only thing that's really not lined up, so you have a steady job. Like for a decent rental, you need a steady job and you need a stack of cash. So that's two out of the three things that you're gonna need for home ownership. The only thing that's missing is your credit score, and so they are really sticking it to you for that those points that you're missing on your credit score. Um, Talking to a lender recently, so like within this Corona thing right now, they're looking at 660, and so if you can get your score up to that, that's pretty solid to get a deal done. Now, obviously, the higher the better. That affect your interest rate and stuff like that. But interest rates are super low right now, and so that's even more reason than normal to go to home ownership as opposed to renting. And I just don't want to see people just pay that extra premium when you're almost there. You're like so close, and it's just so much better to have your own. And you're actually, instead of like renting, you're actually getting some equity in it. Like you say, like you can borrow against that. You can get some money and like make it even better. And you can get a loan against the equity once you build some up. Now we all know, let's be realistic. Like in the beginning, a lot of it is going to be interest that you're paying. But again, think about taxes. So some of the stuff you can be writing off on your taxes. So there's a lot of benefits, and I guess the moral of the story is that all these renters that I have on my list, like you're not as far away as you think. Like if you want to try to get your credit together, get you on track. The first step is definitely to get your credit together and get that pre-approval. And then you can go house hunt. Then how much you can buy. Then what you're working with. so you can really get out there and try to do some damage, try to get that house, instead of just, I wouldn't say throwing away money, but it kind of is throwing away money, and it's kind of, wasting time. And what they say, like, is, if you were spending so much of your money every month on rent, it's like, how are you going to progress? How are you going to save? How are you going to invest? How are you going to do anything but just pay that more when it's such a high percentage of what you make? Then, I mean, that's the only way you can really get ahead, because you got to find some way to invest. You got to find some way to save. That's the way you go to the next level. So, and it's just a cycle. It's like, if you have just enough to rent, then you can never save, and then you can't, So I just feel really bad, and so that's what I would like to see. I grew up a renter. I never lived in a house till I was 20 years old. I lived in apartments my whole life. Not nice apartments, crummy apartments, and so I never wanted to do that as an adult. So once I got grown and I got out of college or whatever, I went straight for it. And I was fortunate. Right when the housing bubble burst is right around the time that I got my first job and had a little money and everything. And so I was able to get a house for cheap. I was able to pay that house off. I paid that house off, and then I was able to take that money and then buy a rental property with it. And I now own a rental property free and clear. And so I have that. I mean, it doesn't always work for you. I have bad tenants that's sitting there vacant right now. Like, I need to get moving on that, but that's something that I could sell at any time. And now I moved on to my second place. Better house, better part of town. Just trying to progress, and that's something that probably landlords don't want to see. They probably wanted me to see, me renting forever, and making them money forever. I'm a landlord too, but I don't want to see people rent forever. I understand that, it should be a phase. It should be a phase. You rent for a little bit. And in certain situations, like if you're a transient, like if you're maybe in the military or something, you station here for a few years, you're going to leave. Like, that makes sense, but other than that, let's, rent for a little bit, and let's get on, where you can build your own, your own house, where, this would be the house that maybe your kids grow up in, that they, hopefully that they have for their whole life, where they say, oh, that's mom's house, that's dad's house. We know it's, 3507, whatever trail, and that's where I grew up, and they're still there, and it just gives you some permanence, In my childhood, just moved around so many times and just uprooted, probably lived like 30 different places, like growing up. And it was always, moving, trying to getting evicted, getting your stuff thrown out in the street. And it was just one of those things where I just wasn't able to put down roots. And it really affected me. And so that's why I feel really strongly, for anybody, that's renting, to really to really try to take that next step, to because that's just the first step. Like, once you start, then you can kind of see the horizon. Then you're like, okay, once you get in the house, you're like, okay, well, let's put some money aside. Let's make sure these kids go to school, and let's put some money in the bank. Let's get 1,000. Let's get 10,000. Let's pay off these cars. Let's get rid of this leased car, or this car note. Like, let's move to the next level now. Let's try to build on that. And then once you step to that level, then you can kind of see the next level after that. So it's probably something you can't even see yet. Well, wherever you're at, you might not be able to see the next step. But once you take the next step, then the path will be illuminated for you, so that way you can keep going. And that's why I want to see everybody keep going, and doing well, especially in this time right now. I hope everybody's doing great, and I hope everybody's having a great weekend, have a great week. And I probably try to do these videos like every week, just to touch base with everybody, just kind of let you know who I am. I'm definitely here for you. Any kind of real estate needs, I could definitely help out. And just let me know. Nice to meet everybody on my page, checking in on Messenger. Whoever I've talked to so far. Hopefully, I can help everybody that has a need. Just trying to be of service, kind of putting that first, and say, okay, how can I help you? What can I do for you? And just be that person all the way through, so that you get your goals met, and in the process, things are going to fall into place for me. But my first priority is just to help people out first, and then everything else for me is going to be fine, especially with referrals. Anybody that I've talked to, like, oh yeah, I got a friend too, I got a friend too. So it's already working in the right direction. It's running a little bit long. I was planning on doing like a minute, but just got kind of rambling. But anyways, you guys have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.